is May 11th, 2023. Oh my God. I went out to this new client on the edge of Barberton in Akron, okay? I go in and take my client for a walk, sit outside. One of those idiots call a neighbor across the street. Supposed to keep an eye on her? It's not safe to have kids around her. I can see her. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Right? Right? Alright, so we get back and they sell the login to the protective custody that agent open, where only police and agents should see, hear everything I do through my phone being tapped in my car and my home. Okay. So I go in there and I am filling out, I sort of blasted them on Facebook. Last night, I really blasted them. I put a picture of Tinkerbell with a wand and little stars around it. And I put retired Judge Pete with his magic wand and fairy drug dust passing out permission to do crimes. I also put a picture of a Pinocchio with its pants on fire and then saying liar, liar, pants on fire next to it. And I said every gang and a cult needs a name, so I decided to call them the Pinocchio group, the liar, liar, pants on fire cult. Then I sort of put the 10 Commandments up, and that Christian people, so-called Christian people, need to learn to read the Bible. I also blasted where did my ex-husband not think with that man showing up at that church of, my God, I had an FBI agent in my office, that our phones and our homes weren't legally bugged after someone talked to him about a threat on my life. And where did he thought, he kept saying I had all those men around me, that they weren't around everyone. And they caught my ex-daughter-in-law that was friends with his girlfriend telling the kids to lie, and on Thanksgiving of 2018 that they wanted the house for Auntie Shaw and Papa, and Grandma needed to get out, and they were making everything up to my other granddaughter. And all the police know they lied. I typed that up. I go outside. People are screaming. They've always known all those kids lied. Is that why nobody said anything to her? I'm like, duh. They're documenting me games of pretend. Just like last Saturday in Acme, some of the undercover police following me around. We always knew those kids lied. So why would we bother to say anything to her? Because in a legally bugged house, they got caught stating they wanted the girlfriend to get the house, and then in Papal, and I needed to get out, and they were making everything up to my other granddaughter. They were games of pretend. Gecko, gecko, gecko. And then my other granddaughter, 11 months later, ratted them out. Of course that never happened. Of course it wasn't true. We made it up. See, they have got to the point, November 7th or 8th, 21, screwing out Walmart West House. They found all the kids lying in 2018. Yeah, they were documenting me jokes. That the sick family that was stalking me, rape drugging me, raping me, and having me beat, had the kids make up a bunch of sick jokes because they're sick son of a bitches. Okay? Now, we're going to get back to the case. That agent opened. Now, out on Turquoise Street, they were talking about that Dave was dating one of the officer's daughters up there. Also, where there was a Michelle Lauren and heavy-set, big-chested girl, blonde, drove a blue car, and a pretty dark-haired girl. All right? He had 17 girlfriends in high school. He manipulates women. That's what he does. and none of them got the house. That's where it's amazing. None, after they were willing to have me raped, drugged, beat, photoshopped, publicly humiliated, and they still didn't get it. See, that's the point of it, is they still didn't get it. Now, they said one of them was a cop's daughter, where he said, my girlfriend's rich and powerful, her family owns the police, and you won't be able to withstand. I told him it's not a communist country. Nobody owns the police. So I called the FBI on him. You want to be an asshole? I go higher. Seriously, I'll go higher. But they said actually one of those police officers called that agent, told him not to believe me, and that's why he just left it on his desk. He already had opened the case with diplomatic immunity and the money, and he just didn't bother looking into anything. He just let the case open, because you can't close it, because they can always hire someone else to kill me. He should have called me. He should have came talk to me. February 7th, 22, Giant Eagle. People were running around, investigators calling those grandkids fucking lying dirty little bastards. They called them fucking shit up my family should be ashamed of in 18 and 19. They have never spoke anything hardly nice about them at all. Because here I'm laying my life down, living through a concentration camp, and they're giggling lying for the girlfriend. That's sick. That's real sick. Okay? Matter of fact, that's what a lot of the investigators, how sick all this is. Well, if they need to check if an officer did call that agent, he needs to be arrested. Because his daughter was dating my husband at the time. There's conflict of interest charges, 1 to 10 years, and up to $1 million fine for working any case against anybody with a conflict of interest. Friends, family, anything. That's where Officer Reinhardt Louisville, Portage County, could never say a word to your life. There's a retired judge involved, and he for friends and family, they can't even say a word to you in your life. They go to jail and they get thrown out for that, and it's a conflict of interest. See, this is where what happened to that agent. So Portage County sheriffs, one just got arrested again for raping somebody, and I'm telling you, he looks really close to the guy that was smothering me. My security team would actually know who he is. They got him out of my face. And then the actual guy that was raping me and punching me in my private area and up inside during a protected custody case, July to September 19, midnight to 3:30 in the morning. They break in my apartment, 3 men. The one that was raping me is 5'10" to 6 foot, shaved head, white, dark eyes. He has tattoos. He drove the dark gray truck that was following me around. He threatened to arrest me within 2 weeks at the family church, and they yelled at him, "What you did was rape. You leave her alone." And that's where you can't arrest somebody for raping you and torturing them. If he is a Portage County sheriff, if they pull the case, they will be able to identify those 2 men. There was a heavy-set white man also in the room. There was the one that was a stalker. One of my security guys got him out of my face at the South Pay register in February of 19. He was in my face, and he's like, "Knock it off." "No, this is funny." I said, "Not knock it off, leave her alone." Well, he was yelling at him. I took off running. They had already went after him before that. They could do face wrecks on both of them. But if that one of those officers out there, they would actually have a recording if one of them ever called that agent and told him not to believe me. like the Tuscarora sheriff said, you can never tell anybody not to believe somebody and not to help them. You go to jail for that. You can go up to jail like 79 years. Life in federal. It's abuse and misconduct, abusing the authority entrusted in you. So we're going to go a little bit further. See, that's where even Will can go to jail because of what he did on the phone. But see, that makes where if he wasn't part of this, when I tried to tell him some guy told on me in that church, he called me a flat out liar. Do you know those people in the Barberton Akron area, right on the border? We even went over to that church and they said they seen him. An officer reported he'd seen him before I called him back. November 6, 22 at Trinity Hospital. Dave told Danny on April 15th at 16 and 23, he actually spoke to him. He was up at that church asking threats on my life. So, and see, this is a point of why wouldn't it be, how did they find out? I want to find out who was up there. Because, see, that would be logical. Him calling me a flat-out liar. Why would you do that? You go to jail. It's badgering. Department of Justice 1729. It's obstruction of justice, tampering with evidence, and tampering with witnesses. It's exactly what it is. 5 to 20 years. Try to tell him what happened at Huntington Bank where the guy threatened to knife me and the Pizza Hut lady got paid to watch me and I got away from him. Or he threatened to knife me. I went up to Huntington Bank, got away from him. Then the Pizza Hut lady got paid to watch me, and the banker yelling at her, and they walked off together. Was there a camera up at the bench when you first heard his voice? Think he might be behind? I don't know. You don't know? I'll arrest you and put you in jail. Now you either say you're lying or I'll put you in jail. Was there a camera up at that bench? I don't know. And because I didn't know, it's like either say you're lying or put you in jail. It's like, fine, whatever. That's why the Canton Police on November 24, 22, the agent, at Mercy Medical, was talking to the nurse, the agent that bullied her, into saying she was lying when she wasn't. You can't even suggest somebody's lying. And he cost people their lives. See, then he made me beg for my life, and then listed me informant with $5,000 a month and immunity for the rest of my life, even when I tell, but then threaten me if I told again. He can't put a gag order on me. He's not a sitting judge. And the informant program's different than the witness protection program. Witness protection program, you just give a statement or you testify and they move you out and change your name. Informant, they leave you in high danger and you feed them information. It gets too bad, they pull you out. He left me up there to die. I told you I didn't think he was real. And when Dave was threatening Dixie and the baby's life and had a list, I Googled the office he said he was at, and I found him. Lady yells out, well, he's got a list. I'm working on it. Okay? Then when I seen the guy, and he took off through the side woods, and I had to swerve and then hit my garage door opener, get in, lock it up, and call him that I seen him. The lady answered the phone again and said, will you tell those police up there to get a hold of this? We're busy. They were too busy. I had already almost been shot in the head driving. I have stalkers coming at me. I have bruises on me. I'm losing 5 to 7 pounds a week. And people are lying. They have sodium pentothal reports. And I can't even keep saliva down. And Dave's beating me with internal injuries. And they're busy. Do you know what happened after that? I got bashed in the head, jumped, stabbed in the neck, left for dead. They leave the comb on Dave's dresser. Still have the dent in my head. And then the gunshot night. A lot of bad things happened. Where did he go? See, it don't matter. If somebody lies to him and he didn't bother to find out, why wouldn't you bother to find out? Why wouldn't you come talk to me? He opened that case. He had an officer talk to Dave. After he talked to me, the heavyset white officer that was at CSE Bank, North Canton, or Jackson Police seen him at Liberty House here in June of 19. He tells it in Hartville seen him. He was up there about a month ago telling all of them I was an informant. See, that's the whole thing. He actually opened a real case and he just left it. He didn't bother to even come back. What the hell happened to him? That's why all these bad things happen. I was actually a school, the retired judge, and if there is a dirty officer involved where Dave was dating Michelle Lauren, the heavyset blonde girl with a big chest, drives a blue car, and that pretty dark-haired girl. One of their dads is an officer where he said, my girlfriend's rich and powerful and her family owns the police. You won't be able to withstand. I told them it's not a communist country. Nobody owns the police. So I called the FBI on it. If there is an officer involved, you do realize that getting the log into the protected custody case would be nothing in selling it. That retired judge also would know how to do it. And they made millions. This is the biggest drug scam in the world. You know, they run around saying they have special permission to be in my home from the courthouse. There's no such thing as special permission. You get cold, hard court orders. And the court orders are only for protected light cases with statements because you have the right to privacy over your house. You also have the right to remain quiet and a right to an attorney. Why can't you be in somebody's home? Hello. We live in the United States of America. Like I told my ex-husband, it's not a communist country. It really isn't. So we're going to go forward. Yeah, they were up there on Turquoise Street the other night. The police were in her home. No, they weren't. They told Danny it was only some guy named Pete he had hired. He was the one taping me unaware and doing all those things. He hired a man to drug me, beat me, rape me before I called the FBI. And I'm waking up with bruises I can't explain. An infected personal area. And I couldn't figure out how it got infected so bad. Hard telling what he was doing to me. Dave, you know what's sick? Dave was still touching me. This is where it's sick. Sick as it can be. And he's letting that man rape me and beat me with drugs so I wouldn't remember. Lie, they have sodium pentothal reports. And I told you they used those drugs on him that Eric had got him high and told him come in Walmart 62 November 18th, 22, 2 to 6 p.m. by the hair salon that all the tapes were him and not me and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You're sleepwalking for 4 to 6 hours. They said they can control everything you say and do with those drugs. See, and I've met other people that have got roofied and they were walking around and talking to people and they didn't know what they were doing either. With no memory. It's not funny doing that to a human being. And do you realize those families up there are such pieces of shit? They will kick in your door, stalk you, Photoshop you in bed with your, or not Photoshop shower scenes, watch you in the bathroom on the toilet. Do you realize how mentally ill they are? They will watch you in bed with your husband, make love, and sell it on porn sites. Do you know how illegal that is? Do you know how illegal it is to hire somebody to stalk your wife? Set up tiny cameras and watch her? My one friend that worked at the prosecutor's office, you know, when they said, when they kicked in my door, they had set up tiny cameras. He said they probably did. He said they probably did Photoshop that shower scene. He said where you had bruises and you were throwing up and dizzy and almost passing out, they probably were drugging you. As if they could use it against you. He said they did it in a house. They can't use it. And they can't enter drug confession. They can go to jail for admitting they did all those things to me. And it's documented through the doctor that I had bruises, I was throwing up, had a headache, I wouldn't go away, almost passing out, heart racing, short of breath, and a very bad personal infection that wouldn't go away, even with medication. You put drugged and being beaten and raped under drugs, it all fits. See, you can't hire a man to frame your wife because she didn't die and you tried 4 times. Like some guy yelled out on Turquoise Street this last week. I went to Dave and I told him, are you crazy admitting you had somebody taping her underwear in your home and doing all those things to her? You'll go to jail. Duh. Duh. He said he didn't think about it till he seen what she wrote. And he said that it is what's going on. There was a man at that church, and he said he talked to him. Mm-hmm. Told you. People in the Akron Barberton area said they went over to the church and asked him. He was there. Boy, were they screaming when I walked out after I wrote that stuff about them finding all those kids lying in 18. They found all those kids lying in 18. Is that what's going on? Why nobody says it? Yeah. It's like you're about 3 years, or actually 18, 5 years. 5 years too late. They're pulling the biggest punk scam there is. Punk scam. Do you realize those 4 families wanting my house and jewelry were willing to have me raped, beat, drugged, publicly humiliated to steal some house and jewelry? They're part of the human trafficking and drug traders in this area. They pulled a case that agent opened, even though he just opened it and let it be. It's still legal because there's Cop Talk today about the threats on my life. Department of Justice. Police and agencies can only be in a home under threat of life with statements. You can't hire just some guy named Pete on his own. To stalk your wife, Photoshop her, date rape her, beat her, and rape her. And so she's sleepwalking for 4 to 6 hours and does what she's told and leave her sick, beaten, bruised, and infected. The sick son of a bitches. You know what's really sick? I confront Dave in January. I don't know who's doing this to you, Karen. It's not me. Yes, it was. April 15, 16, 23, he confessed to Danny that it was, he didn't know why that other man confessed. He had nothing to do with it. He had hired some guy named Pete on his own. He was the only one up there taping me and doing all those things to me. And he seen that guy up at that church. Said he was from, and he's the only agent from that agency looking into it on his own. Now, that FBI still owes me that money. And where they sold a login, the kids across on Turquoise Street, so they were talking about the case in class. All these bad things happened to me because that agent didn't help me. It is. Happened to all the bad things around me to all those other people because he didn't help me. He had the biggest case in the world sitting on his desk. The drug cartel. Those people were messed up with him, and the human traffickers. They pulled a case on my ex-husband, and if there's dirty officers involved, messed up with him. And they need to be arrested. I'm still supposed to be in protected custody. This is where it's rich. I'm still supposed to be in protected custody. It's for life. My one friend that worked at the Stark County Prosecutor's Office, it'd be legal for the FBI to drop you for any reason. Once they put you in one of the witness protection programs, they can never let you go. Someone try to kill you, they could hire someone else. And he said they could move you to a different protection program, but they have to speak to you first. And are you going to say that agent fell for Pete's photoshopping of a shower scene or his date rape drug confessions, knowing a Fourth Amendment and make it legal for him to look at it? Did he know about Pete raping me and beating me and cutting my leg, doing sick shit to me? Did he not arrest him? Did he know of any of this? Because where does his rude behavior come into play? And because of his stupidity and negligence, people have died around me. And I've almost been murdered several times. And he opened that case and it's still running. Please tell everybody she's an informant. I'll be an informant, like my friend from, used to work at the prosecutor's office. She'll be an informant till the rest of your life. They can never let you. It'd be illegal. Failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. See, this is where it's got rich. And all these people, when they realize that they've been punked by my ex-husband and one of his girlfriend's dads, yeah. And they were in it with the drug cartel, running a big drug scam down here. People scatter and realize how stupid they are. Do you know, little kids, last weekend I was walking in the park in Louisville. Karen's Will's here. Because they either called the case Karen's Will or Karen around the house. And they said, Karen's Will's here. And no one said say a word to her. We all know that it was just her ex-husband and having some guy named Pete on his own doing that to her. And the FBI betrayed her. And then clear down in New Philly at Longhorn Steakhouse over the weekend too. There was Mennonites in there talking about it. And they said, we found out Karen's ex-husband was even threatening babies. They said, I know, none of us are to say a word to her again. And they said, they let her live through all that, and they didn't even pay her. If the FBI don't make this right, would anybody honestly ever trust them again? See, I used to work in a bank. I could put your social in. I could see whoever talked to you, what account, where your money went. And every informant case comes with that money. They give you 60 grand a year to risk your life. That's not a lot. To get them information, then immunity for the rest of your life so they can't come back and try to get you for telling on them. See, I have under several security guys in the team. 2 of them are young officers, and they're undercover police officers. They went and spoke to my kids in 18, and they spoke highly of me. They're the ones that made fun of Dave, the first or second month, maybe third, of get a gun, Karen. Oh my God, you don't know what's going on. Where's your gun? It's like it's not together. Some guy just pulled in a parking spot next to us in Walmart about 7 o'clock at night. People were walking by. I'm like, no. He's like, he's staying stuff on my wrist. Oh my God, where's that gun? It's like it's not together. I know you don't know what's going on. Get in the car. Where's that gun? It's like it's not together. If you're afraid of him, beat him with my purse. I had already almost been shot in the head driving. Had a slam, tuck, swerve, and the guy tried to run me off the road. I have stalkers coming at me. People are breaking in and stabbing me with needles, and then I'm waking up with injection marks, and they're lying in Walmart. They had sodium pentothal reports and saying the craziest stuff in the world. And I'm throwing up, and I'm sick, and he's worried about somebody pulling in next to us. It's like you're scared of him, beat him with my purse. Those 2 young officers laughed. A few days later, she told him to beat him with her purse. I know, we can't be seen with her. And they're the ones that on June 23rd to July 4th, 21 by the Panel, what are these people talking about? We interviewed her whole family a long time ago. She's never hurt anyone. And then girls that were dating the drug dealers. Oh my goodness, those boys had a drugger to make her say that stuff. Nobody mentioned those tapes again in front of them. And they had already been bragging they drugged me and told me to say stuff and da-da-da-da-da. It was crazy. I mean, I'm sick, I'm throwing up, I got marks, and that agent was busy. They left me at that concentration camp. Ever been tortured? It's a lot worse than ever almost being murdered. It's a level of fear you cannot get away. And you figure you're just going to die that night. At the hands of others. Now, he was busy July to September 19, midnight to 3 in the protected custody case. Human traffic between May and June. Almost shot in the head driving within the first 45 days. My car's bugged inside and out from being an informant. Huh? Then I had 6 stalkers in Walmart. They beats me with internal injuries. There's an emergency report scope proving the damage. He missed it on my phone. Did he even get a fine? No. Nothing. Let's see. He had actual people up there to shoot me. They actually did go to the wrong house. They broke in the duplex next door. Thank God that old lady was in the hospital. And the men that stayed on the other side of the duplex never came back. I had to hide not to get murdered. He got caught on the surveillance. How he had those people up there to kill me. And they said they killed 2 outside. Huh? It's a house of horror. And Dave working with the Kingsmen and the Detroit boys. And any other officer that would be involved, they'd have him dead to rights too. Now, I'm going to go ahead and upload this. But they need to find out what the heck happened. He better not have known about Pete and Dave in their illegal search and seizure. And he didn't arrest him for a severe 4th Amendment right violation. Can't hire a stalker to stalk your wife, date rape, drug her, beat her, and rape her. Leave the poor thing beaten, bruised, with a bad infection. And she's throwing up and dizzy and her heart's racing and she doesn't know what's happening to her. Because her amnesia drugs. Do you realize how sick these people are that will do that just to get a house? I want you to think about that. They will literally murder somebody to get what they want. They have no fear and no remorse. That agent better not have been knowing that Dave was human trafficking me, raping me, and beating me under drugs. And having that man do that to me and stalking me and then photoshopping shower scenes. Do you realize with them admitting to watching me in the bathroom? Everybody used the bathroom. They're porn of my kids, their wives, and my grandkids. That would make him an accessory to a lot of crimes. The FBI still owes me that money for working this case. The sheriffs and the marshals over 2 hours away picked up the case, and they used it to get those 800 people. My one friend had a friend on the police department said that they were getting ready to take care of it. They were using that case that agent opened. And they knew about the Texas group involved and da-da-da-da. And he's telling me different things. And then 3 weeks later, they did an 800 people sweep. See, Pete and my ex-husband are running this big punk scam. And they punked that Pete punked my ex-husband that he could actually do this and be used against me. So Fourth Amendment, they can't even look or listen. All the police are saying no one had a right to be watching me unaware in my home before outside a protected light case with statements. It's illegal. They can't look or listen. It was done by a stalker. And and then you won't have to worry about them putting 2 clips together, put her in a porn, it's not her, it's them. Oh, it's a shower scene. Ha! She figured out what they did. Big list of people reporting them. And then the drugs and told us say stuff. It's not funny and none of it's admissible, but they can go to jail for what they did. They can't hire a stalker because you didn't die, date rape, drug you, beat you under drugs, and give you amnesia drugs so you're walking around sleepwalking. That's very mentally sick and disgusting to do that to a human being, let alone admit to raping her and leave her infected. And then selling pictures of me and my ex being together on porn sites. And then on top of it, they hacked into the protected custody case and sold it and made millions. They sold FBI an investigation. Police information, basically. Do you realize that's 13 years right there on that? People are not in trouble for having it, but they're in trouble for selling it. And everybody that has anything on this, I'll tell you what, they need to turn everything they have into the sheriffs, the FBI, marshals, anything. Get these people. They're hooked into those drug traders that are human trafficking people.